welcome, I just love her. Joanne Lara is here with us. And you have so many hats. We were talking about this earlier, that you have worked in this field for a really long time.
20 years.
Special education credential in moderate to severe, the severest of the severe kids.
That's right.
You have dealt with. You have been teaching at National University
11
for
years.
11 years. You began autism movement therapy, which is amazing. And you
9 years ago.
tour all over the world to teach people how to do that so that they can start a program where
That's
they
right.
are. You run a program here that does that and helps our kids with special needs to get moving and connect with their bodies. And we were talking yesterday about a new study about why golf is beneficial for our kids. And we've been saying, well, table tennis is good, and anything that crosses the midline helps with
the brain
up here. And Joanne knew that way before they did these tests, has been doing this for a really long time. But recently, you then decided to take on a new project because you saw a need and decided, if nobody else is going to take responsibility, as you said to me earlier, I'm a one-man band on this. Although everybody's joining the bandstand because we're
going to have an orchestra soon.
You're the Pied Piper, and we're all following you because everybody sees the need and sees what you have doing. But Autism Works Now has become a guiding force, and really you are the guiding force of it to make sure that everybody has the ability to get and keep a job.
That's right. It's my mantra now.
Yeah.
Autism Works Now. Everybody deserves the opportunity
Yes.
to decide what their life is going to look like after they transition out of high school.
Yes.
And they may need help with that, and they may need guidance, but it's already there for them. And IDEA and the federal government 20 years ago said they need help. And we want to establish an area within the IEP called the ITP, the Individual Transition Plan, that's embedded in the IEP, which many of our parents and viewers don't know. Yeah,
it's already there and in place for us to be able to do that, and legal, but we have not been taking advantage of it.
Yes.
And I would say to you that I think for parents, at the point where the ITP comes in, we're tired. And I think we have an expectation. I just was on the phone with somebody from my school who said, I'd love it if you just trust me. And I think we get to a point at this point where we just go, oh, if there was something that they needed to tell me, I'm sure they would tell me.
I would know.
Which, that's a bad thing to have running around in our heads.
Right.
We need to take personal responsibility and make sure that we're up to speed, because I don't know anybody, I have yet to hear a parent go, oh, and our school had the whole ITP process completely in hand and led us through it perfectly and beautifully.
That's right.
I haven't heard that story. What I hear is people going, what's the ITP? What is that? What is that? Is it something else I got to do? Oh,
exactly.
No. Another.
And let me tell you how it evolved. Being on Hillary Clinton's Disability Employment Task Force team last year, I was introduced to Sue Swinson, who is, I want to say, the assistant to Department of Education in Washington. And, pinch me. I had like a 90-minute phone call with her.
Yeah.
And she and I, we were both talking about need for vocational centers being brought back, need for skill set being taught.
Yeah.
These kids need to have a skill set that equates to a job when they graduate, either at 18 or 22, because they're flying by the seat of their pants now. And they're having to go in for an interview, first get an interview, and they're right up against their peer set.
Yeah.
And so that peer and them, okay, they both have diplomas, let's say at 18.
Right.
They're going into Bank of America. They're good with numbers, accounting.
Yeah.
Who's going to get the job?
Right.
The neurotypical kid is going to get the job over our kid who may be even more skilled at that numbers game than the person that they hire.
Because the playing field on which they're being judged goes off of social things that we decided a long time
predetermined ideas about autism.
That really, and predetermined ideas about what is socially beneficial. Like what's socially good, the making eye contact, the holding the eye contact for a certain amount of time, the squeezing the hand.
Turning a conversation.
Right. These things that we decided, the neurotypicals decided, oh, well, that shows good job skills. It doesn't necessarily when you're going for an accounting job.
That's right.
But when you're an HR person, looking at people, these are the kinds of things you've been taught to look at. This is all going to change,
right?
But not overnight.
That's right.
And I was saying this yesterday about you, Joanne, that there are places that are trying to teach job skills to our kids. It's not as if, you've reinvented a wheel in terms of teaching job skills, but you take it so much more than that. You teach about how to get the interview, all the missing holes for that, how to be at the interview, how to
First of all,
participate.
how to research the job you want.
Right.
Because you should know about the job that you want to go into research. You should know what a job description looks like. You should understand when I go in for this job, what are they going to expect from me?
Yes.
Not be able to answer the last question on any HR interview is, number 10, because now we've learned all this.
Yeah.
Number 10 is, now why should we hire you? Which is the hardest question for anyone to answer.
Right.
Because that turns it all around on you, and you have to decide in a very short period of time, what can I bring to this organization?
Right.
And what can they give to me?
Yeah.
It is a two-way street. Two-way street.
Yeah.
So, you know what our kids say?
Why?
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know.
Right. And
well,
what a shame.
Hello, the interview's over.
Right. What a shame. But here's what I also love about you. You teach all of those things, but any really discerning person, and there are lots of places out there, we have lots of companies who are saying, we're making a commitment to hire these people, but once they get there, then it's a whole other kettle of fish because the company that has hired them needs also to be prepared and trained and know what to expect and how to expect it.
And we're calling that sensitivity training on the part of the employer.
And you are doing that and working on that.
We're working on that.
Piece there.
We're working on that too. And I had this conversation with somebody recently, in fact, the other day. There are a lot of those companies out there, Microsoft, Toyota. There's a number of big, federal, national organizations that are,
but they've made a commitment and
have made a commitment to hire individuals with autism. Now we look at Microsoft and we go, great, yay. But they're looking for the next Temple Grandin. They're looking for the person that's going to change the way we see technology.
Yeah.
We know that. Yeah. So if we really look at that and we go in and go, what are the stats on that? How many individuals have you employed with autism? I think we would probably be disappointed in the last 2 years, because they came out in 2015 with the big promo photo op. We're hiring people with autism. Right. Okay, 2 years down the road, I'd like to know how many people with autism work at Microsoft.
And how
I'm
many
not
were
being
hired,
doom and gloom, I'm just saying.
Right, and how many who were hired and then it didn't work out? Because sometimes it doesn't work out because there are too many things that the employer does not know what to do about.
Exactly, and our attrition rate is huge.
Yeah.
We have 80% unemployment, and even the kids that do get the job, or the youth that do get the job, don't keep the job.
Yeah.
3 months is like 3 to 6 months, and then a lot of times, it's, goodbye, and it was really nice.
Yeah.
But party.
But you're the only, Autism Works Now is the only place that I know that's looking at that realistically and going, how are we going to fix that?
Right.
And we can't leave the employer out of that conversation. I loved, yesterday we had on the show the puppeteer from, that does Julia on Sesame Street.
No, you did?
You did. And
she lives in Florida, I heard.
Well,
she's from Florida.
Yeah, well, she was living in Arkansas.
Okay.
But so I think originally she was in Florida, and then she went to Arkansas, and then on to Sesame Street.
Yeah.
But I mentioned during the interview, we said, where do you hope for this to go?
I hope you said Autism Works Now.
I did. Yes. I did, girlfriend. I
Good.
did, because she said she got chills, and she said, all the different ways that this is going to change, because she's an autism mom. She gets it.
It's going to change everything.
And she was an individual who worked with kids who were on the spectrum.
Yeah, I heard
she
that.
Totally, and she said, I get chills thinking about it. And I said, well, I want you to know that Joanne Lara from Autism Works Now said that, you know, this is going to make the biggest difference, because 10 years from now, when an HR director has somebody coming in who's on the autism spectrum and they see some of these things, they are going to be like, I know what that is.
I know Julia.
Yeah, I know Julia, so I can hire this
That's
person.
right.
So
Absolutely.
I did say that, because when you said that to me, I was like, wow, that's true. That's
It's going to be a game changer.
It is.
For the next generation.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It's a lovely, lovely
It's
thing.
a wonderful
And
thing.
don't you find it fun?
I have goosebumps
right?
now.
Out of all the things that people have done to try to, you know, we can't ever
a
unite.
Muppet does it.
We can't
right?
unite the autism community over anything. Not a puzzle piece, not a color.
Right. We can't come to agreement on anything.
But a Muppet.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard a single negative thing.
No bad things about Muppets. And you know what? I actually went on Google because I was like, I need to see how they're characterizing her.
Yes.
And she flaps and she spins.
She sure does.
And she has some social disconnect.
Yeah.
And they have to explain some things differently and accommodate.
Yes.
Everything is perfect.
What I especially love is at one point when Big Bird is asking questions and saying, you know, what is autism? What I love is that in the script and the actor, that he says, well, for Julia, it means this.
Yes.
I love that attention to detail, so that we're not going, autism means you flap your hands, because not everybody does.
Right. And the creator is a father with a daughter.
She was listing off all the different players that are moms and dads, and
it's been, listen, Julia's been coming down the pike for almost 3 years.
She said 10.
Is it 10 years?
10 years they've been working
I
on
was asked, my PR team asked me to speak on her in 2013. What do you think about this new Muppet that Sesame Street is creating?
Well, she was,
and it's taken this long, though.
Well, the first thing that they did, I think they were really smart about it, was they did a whole bunch of research. Then they launched her as a cartoon character in books.
Oh, that's right.
Then she went from there into being in cartoons.
I see. Cartoons first.
And then after that, I was there last year at the Autism Society of America, where they had the first life-size version of her. It was that they debuted her there, and I got to interview them while she was there. You can't interview her, but you know, because the life-size puppets, none of them speak. But so Janine Betancourt, we interviewed her at Autism Society of America. But that was the first time that the life-size version of her, and we were hearing rumblings that there was going to be a puppet, a Muppet.
Yeah.
So this is, but I think it was smart the way they rolled it out. So some people in the autism community already knew Julia from the cartoons. I did know her. Some of the kids, right. Yeah. But now to have her as a regular, and Stacy Gordon is the puppeteer, she said that there are some storylines coming up that are just amazing.
Good. She doesn't appear every time. I hear it's 3 times a season. Is that right?
I didn't ask her about that. I know it is not on every episode. But you know what? That's how Abby Cadabby started out too, that she was only every once in a while. Honestly, that's how Elmo started out.
Oh, they all did?
But in, you know, when they see the ratings from it, and I love that the autism community has showered love on Sesame Street for doing this, and that there's been none of that, well, you can't do that. There's been none of that.
There's been no doom and gloom.
That's right.
As I call it.
That's right.